What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Ring the Bell Phillies show for the fourth season. We are here kicking off an incredible fourth year doing this show. I believe it's our second full season doing this on YouTube or streaming wherever you guys are watching this, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you are watching. This is our second full season doing live streaming, our fourth season overall doing this show. But listen, the city of Philadelphia is on fire. I'm sure tomorrow it will actually at some point be on fire. But nonetheless, man, it's incredible that tomorrow's a parade for the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl win. But yet, right off the bat here, baseball is back. Whether anybody knows that right now or not, baseball season has officially started. Pitchers and catchers already reported to Clearwater. Obviously, as we get more and more through the weekend into next week, the normal players, the infielders, outfielders, those guys, they're going to be there. A lot of them are already there, but nonetheless, we're almost at a full camp. There's going to be a game in 9 days. Like there's already a spring training game in 9 days. February 22nd. But this is exciting. This is so cool to be back here again for another season. For some reason, it's like the second pitchers and catchers start, my optimism is an all-time high. So that's where I'm at right now. I don't know why I have so much optimism. I've been reading a lot and really studying up on this team going into this year, the rest of the National League. By the way, Anthony, relax. That stash actually looks pretty damn good, if you ask me, on Jason. I actually kind of want him to keep it throughout the entire season. It's going to be Jason, Sal Fasano, Ken. I'm really looking forward to it. And so anyway, I'm pumped up about this team. I actually have really high expectations for them going into this season, as we should. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. The point of tonight's show is, one, to kick off the 2025 baseball season here on the show. And secondly is we're going to talk about the top storylines that we're paying attention to going throughout spring training for the Philadelphia Phillies. But as always, let me welcome in my co-host since day one of this show, way back in 2022. Jason, what's going on, brother?
We'll figure a new season, give a new look. I like that one. That's my favorite comparison right there. I agree 100%. That's it. But
non-HIV, Ron Jeremy, non-HIV.
Is he really?
I think so. Yeah. If I'm wrong, who cares?
R.I.P. or HIV, Ron Jeremy. But we're getting rid of that second chin's almost gone. So, we got to shave it off a little bit, show off the chin, the very strong chin we have here. But it's feeling good. Listen, baseball's here. Yeah. Pitchers and catchers. We got our winter meetings. I know we our season ticket dudes. We do every season, off season, we meet up. So we're meeting up at Chickies and Pizza this weekend. So, excited. Baseball's back. So we're all going to go out, just have a good time. Season tickets are paid off. Got the opening day tickets. We cannot wait till March 31st.
It's going to be awesome. I'm sure it's going to be freezing as always. So, I can't wait to be part of that. As always, Jason's been, going to every home opener since like Vietnam. So he's as always going to be there. Look, the Phillies are excited, obviously, to get back to work. There's going to be plenty of storylines to follow this spring. Rob Thompson and President of Baseball Operations, Dave Dombrowski, they opened up camps with thoughts on the team. We're going to talk about that. But so much to kind of really talk about, but we're not going to spend too much time on here because, listen, with the season here, we're every week now. I mean, we're every week until hopefully the very last weekend of October. I know it has baby. even the first week of November. Look, I know things seem to be falling off of a cliff. We went from a World Series appearance, an NLCS, NLDS, and then that's where we are. It's almost like that 2008 squad where the fall down was level by level in the opposite direction. Don't think the Phillies are going to be doing that. I still expect, as look, 6 teams make it to the playoffs, Jay. if this Phillies team's not one of the six, then they're going to have to clear the entire house. If this roster here is not a top six by the end of September. But notwithstanding, let's discuss the first thing I want to talk about for what I'm going to be looking forward to in spring training, and that is the Alec Boehm situation. Look,
That's a tough one.
we all know, they discussed trading Alec Boehm. I don't care what anybody
He was
says.
as good as gone at
Yeah, I
some
mean,
points. That he was out of town already.
Yeah, there was quite a few, the Ken Rosenthal's, John Morosi's and John Heyman's or Buster Olney's. They really thought that there was going to be a point where Alec Boehm was no longer a Philadelphia Philly. That didn't happen. Even Rob Thompson, he doubled down, triple double down on this whole situation. Said he called Alec Boehm and said, "Look, we personally are not shopping you. You're just such a good player. Teams are calling us, asking us about you." It's a very nice thing to do there, Papa Topper. I really appreciate, that's great, but it's a business. I'm sure Alec Boehm understands and knows what the deal is here. Dombrowski said, we went into the winter time with an open mind with how our club would look and ability to discuss some of our players. With that, obviously brings interest in some of your good players, which is obviously Alec Boehm. You always wonder now with these kind of situations, Jay, when this player is still on the team come spring training, how is that going to look when he walks into the locker room, in front of those guys again? Is there going to be awkwardness between team and player? But apparently
I think not.
Yeah.
To me, it's tough to say because when I look at him, just the maturity he's had since
Right.
that 3-error game and the booing and however I forget how that was a couple years ago now. But so the player, I'm sure he knows the business side of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be personal. He gets it. You're great. If teams are really wanting you, you're a good player. And it does sting because you're getting traded from a team like the Phillies who has so much potential. But I definitely think there's talk there. But when I look at a lot of it, man, in terms of the Alec Boehm and the big situation, I think it's really a trifecta there, with Boehm, Turner, and then Aiden Miller, because you have a top prospect who, could potentially be up in a year or two. Like he could be shortstop, could be third base. I think what you do with Boehm and Turner is very huge for the upcoming future. So I don't know if that's something we're going to talk about later, but I think all of that plays together some way or another, because somebody's got to move out of there for Miller to come up at some point.
For sure. And again, regarding Boehm is, again, I think you're right. He's not just a baseball player. These guys also got to be inner businessmen in a way. They got to understand, you can't be coming in with a bad attitude, because if there is a team out there that really wants you and is willing to offer the farm for you, if you're a bad apple right off the bat and they see that from a media standpoint, teams are paying attention, then that's not going to look too good for you either. The best thing I think Alec Boehm can do personally is to put on your best face, put those
let your bat do that talk.
Yeah, put those man undies on and let the world know that, look, you're here to mean business for the next 2 years, that you're under contract and under team control, and that when you hit free agency, you can pretty much do whatever you want. But the best thing Alec Boehm can do, like you said, is get out there, do the best that you can defensively, and your best asset is that baseball bat in your hand when you're up the bat, and that's what he's going to have to do. Topper talked a little bit yesterday about Alec Boehm's attitude coming in. He said his mindset, a bunch of coaches were around him for a long time this week. They said he's very positive. It seems like a different guy. He's grown up again. He's grown up so much since we first brought him into the big leagues. It looks like he's taken another step. I'm really excited to see what he can do. I'm pretty sure last season, one of the reasons why he might have been traded was because of his attitude. But all right, that's neither here nor there. It's a new season. So I think Alec Boehm's a big one. I wonder what they're going to do with him from a lineup perspective. Topper did say multiple times, you and I talked about this the last time we were on here, that he's going to fiddle around with the lineup a little bit. How's that going to look? Where's he going to put Alec Boehm? We're going to find out, obviously, with plenty of spring training games coming up.
If Harper's not here, does Bohm bat 3?
Yes.
Okay, so you want to get your best player, and this is all hypothetical. This wasn't thought. You want to get your best player bats. Why not? I know you have Turner. It really pisses me off with the Bohm situation, but I honestly think if you look at it that now, if you believe Bohm's it could be a 3-hole hitter, man. I'm going to beat the drum a little bit. You put Turner, you go Turner, Harper, Bohm, Schwarber.
Yeah.
You get Harper that many more bats that in a season, just moving him up. He's that well. You're going to get more, hopefully. I know 3-2, maybe not many, but you just know, and it gets him on base more, gets those guys behind you more at bats with players on base. Could that be something you would think about Topper maybe doing?
I think so. I mean, MLB.com has already come out, I think, on all their socials with projected lineups for opening day for the NL East. And, they have Schwarber hitting 4th or 5th. That's what they predict. And they know a lot more than you and I do. So, that's, they're being told something, or they're doing what we do, and they're projecting that based on, something's got to change from the last couple years, and a lot of it has to do with that lineup, and that's what you're going to do. Then naturally, Jay, right? You would assume that that Alec Bohm is going to be your 3-hole and Bryce is going to be your 2.
And that really solves a lot of that lefty or righty lefty problem you may have, because that way you're moving Stott down. You could have JT or Casty after, or even, maybe put Stott 5 if he's hitting well. You can really do some additional things. I think that, if you're doing that, if you're keeping Bohm, and Bohm's got to be the guy, I think, and, it even helps Harper some.
It does.
Even having just Schwarber down there, I think that creates such a problem for, teams pitching to you, because you got such, I think that would be your best lineup right there.
And we all know that for about 3 years now, I've been begging for Bryce to bat 2. So I'm very much looking forward to that if that does occur. Okay, so let's get into our next thing, and that's our more moves coming. What are your expectations, Jay, on this? Do you think they're done right now unless something happens with a main player injury-wise?
Are you saying like in the offseason?
Right now, up until before opening day.
I think they pretty much stand pat. And it sucks, and I hated it, but you've beaten the drum a million times. Any penny they spend is double. It sucks because you do see the Dodgers out here just going and going and going. And listen, I believe in it. I'm 100%. I'm a guy that doesn't want a salary cap. I don't think what the Dodgers are doing are wrong. I think if you want to win, you're going to spend the money. And I get everybody's other argument. I get the whole side. You're billionaires, pay a little bit. But I just don't think they're willing to go that much right now. I don't know if there's a player or, I don't know who out there makes that much of a difference. Unless I can't even, unless a big team maybe gets an injury and you're going to trade off a good player that way, up more Phillies could take on. But I don't know if there's anybody that really affects this team. I think it's going to be more of an in-season, closer to deadline deal. I don't see anything happening, the rest of this offseason.
So one of the things I wanted to say to you, because and I think it's a strategic thing, and one of the things I want to tell you is what Middleton did say regarding the ability to spend money if they want to add more to the payroll for a big name player. If that happens, would that be an availability? I mean, because we've already talked about why did the Phillies not go after some of the names in the offseason, like the Kyle Tuckers or the Bellingers or the Alex Bregmans. And a lot of that we were told by many people around the team that the fact is the Phillies were already at that third level of that luxury tax threshold. So they're paying double for each player. Now, are they going to do this? If they signed another big time player in the offseason, they would go to that fourth level, which really straps you moving forward.
The problem is I see the Dodgers are signing goddamn everybody.
I will say, though, bro. I agree, but I will say that the Dodgers are able to do that because they're basically paying Shohei Ohtani nothing.
I get it, but you have to still go at like you have, and I really feel like this is a thing now where a lot of the Dodgers are really good. We're going to they know we can just go sign there, and I get it. But if you're the Phillies and you still want to compete and you're telling me, you did all this stuff, Bryce Harper took less.
Yeah.
That's my whole point. I'm going to go back to Bryce Harper's making really penny on the dollars of what he should be making because of that. So this is, I get you're paying Turner, and to me, you have other guys. You have a if he leaves, Schwarber coming off the books. I know you want to, you might want to repay him, and if that may be the move you're looking at, but technically he's coming off the books. You have JT coming off the books. Who was the other guy we discussed last time coming off?
Ranger.
You got Ranger could be coming off the books. So you do have money coming off the books. That's why, to me, go out and look at somebody. You always could potentially, Casty, maybe a year or two. But if it's the right name, I think you had to make the move. I just don't know if there was that right name out there. I think the trades would have been the good way to go this offseason. I would have loved to have gone and gotten Kyle Tucker. That's really the move.
Yeah.
To me, the most, but we've discussed it. If it stinks, because if you're looking, you have to look at the other side. If you're saving for a guy like Vladdy coming up,
which I think
it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense for them not to do anything big now.
Yeah.
Maybe sign, if you can get Schwarber on a decent deal, you got money for next season when everybody else comes off the book to go get that big bat. That could really help.
So here is what Middleton said when asked multiple times regarding the payroll. Look, and I look at it this way. Maybe this team is good enough to win as constructed, which I think they are. Maybe we'll need to add a big piece before the trade deadline, not Ryan Howard, just a big piece overall. Middleton said that if needed, they will. He said, we can absolutely push the payroll. We can do whatever we want to do. I love hearing that. The question is really whether the return on what you're having to spend is really worth it. If you're going to move the needle a lot, that's one calculation. If you're going to move the needle a little, that's a different calculation. You have to look at that very differently. And I love that answer. And you know why I love that answer? Because all I saw flashing in front of my eyes was Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yeah, but this doesn't. I get it, but Kyle Tucker moves that needle. Kyle Tucker's a needle mover.
But then again, if you bring him on and you sign him, you're not getting Vladdy. I'd rather have Vladdy.
Because how many prime years do you think you have left of Bryce playing first base, being a Gold Glove caliber first baseman?
I hope it 3 to 4 years. I hope. I mean, Freddie Freeman's 36 and he's still there.
So that's what I'm saying. You have 4 more years of this guy, Bryce Harper. I get you kind of want to get him at DH, but I know we don't have a right fielder for the next 3 to 4 years.
Right.
If I could get Casty out of there and get Tucker, to me, that's more of the move because I know I need outfield. That's, to me, I think the more pressing need, just in my opinion. That's why I really thought, especially for what they gave up for Tucker, man, I think you could have. I would have been okay giving up a painter for Kyle Tucker because he's shown he could do it at the big league level.
I understand, completely understand. And looking at 2026 free agents, Cody Bellinger's going to be there. Obviously, Kyle Tucker's going to be there. Looking at the ages of some of these guys, Luis Robert, we all know about that already. Trent Grisham is 29. So yeah, again, you're looking. Jarren Duran is going to be available. That's interesting. So yeah, you're right. It's if you don't have anybody in the system playing right field, then Kyle Tucker was the move to make. And look, Kyle Tucker may still be the move, Jay. I mean, he's not under contract.
He could be.
So that, again, if something goes south, where's he at? Chicago, right? The Cubs. If something goes south there,
they could trade him mid-season. It could be a mid-season pick.
I mean, it does look like, though, the Cubs might be in the mode to start spending again. So that could hurt the Phillies' chances because from what came out this morning from Jeff Passan, that the Cubs did make a run at Bregman, but what they offered was far below what Detroit had offered. And it's weird contract to take if you're Bregman. I guess he really wanted that $40 million per year for, I guess, 2 years, and then he can opt out. But man, I don't know why he wouldn't have taken that guaranteed years with the Tigers.
Yeah, that's what I thought, especially with what they have.
Yeah, for sure. But nonetheless, you're right. Tucker would have been the guy that I probably would have gone after. You and I mean, we talked at nauseum about that during the season. But with very few, notable free agents left in the market, it is unlikely the Phillies are probably going to go after them. Dombrowski did say never, but he'd be surprised if anything would happen of any significance at this point.
Man, next one, it is a strong class next year.
It is.
Like
There's going to be a lot of money
Gallons
being thrown
there.
Out. Yeah.
Josh Naylor potentially, Bo Bichette. I know, but these are Rengifo had a good season last season.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, there's a lot of very serviceable players coming up next offseason.
For sure, man. And, the Phillies managing partner Milton did say that the Phillies are not handcuffed by their payroll, which is projected to be the third highest in baseball this year. He said that if Philadelphia needs to make a move before the trade deadline, that Dave Dombrowski can do whatever needs to be done. We look back, last March, the Phillies signed Zach Wheeler to a 3-year deal for a 3-year extension for $126 million. So that goes into my next thing to look forward to, Jay. And I love this is coming up because sometimes I think Jay and I talk about this, that people, just because you hear beat writers say it, that doesn't mean that they're the only people that think about these things. 3 weeks ago, Jay and I did a quick little show here called, sign or let go, whatever I did. I don't even remember what I did this morning, but I specifically said on that episode, before anyone thought it, my prediction for Kyle Schwarber was that he was probably going to sign a contract extension in spring training. Well, long and behold, Dombrowski and Middleton talk, and reports come out from certain beat writers that Kyle Schwarber and the Philadelphia Phillies are discussing contract extensions that could get done in spring training. This spring, could they sign JT, Schwarber, and Ranger? Of course, they're all going to be free agents after the season. But I look at it this way. The Phillies have no heir apparent for JT, so re-signing him would make sense. He enters camp. He's healthy. He's ready to bounce back. He had midseason knee surgery. Topper has already promised that he's going to dial JT back this season from behind the plate. He's going to use him when he's not behind the plate. They're going to try to keep the bat warm and make him, he could be DH a few times. Schwarber is one of the game's best pure power hitters and is obviously a great leadoff hitter. He's been great at the leadoff position. I think he's got the second or third most home runs in baseball over the last 3 seasons. He's almost a guaranteed 35 to 40, over 100 RBIs, over 100 walks, close to 100 runs. This dude signed a 4-year deal worth $82 million, $79 million. He's going to make more than that this time around. And to me, Jay, and you and I talked about this again weeks ago, he's worth whatever he's going to get extended for, because that bat is going to last 3, 4, 5 more years. He's going to be on that 35 to 40 for 3 or 4 more years.
Yeah, it's a nice swing too. And he doesn't need, he's not a guy that needs to generate, like he just generates, but he doesn't need to do anything.
Insane.
Yeah. It's not like he does anything special. He's not going to lose. It's just what he's got. So I don't think he's going to lose. He's just a strong dude.
Yes. Yeah.
That's all, listen, you're going to have to deal with the strikeouts, but I really think if you re-sign him, I truly believe you have to move him. If you're re-signing him, I think it has to be to move him, especially at this age, you got to move him off that leadoff spot.
For sure. I think you're at a point now where I feel like if you want to get the most out of him now, you got to bump him down to that 4 or 5, because the RBIs become so plentiful. And again, this is something that we've harped on. And look, I'm not going to argue anymore the fact of what he has provided at the leadoff hole. I can't knock it anymore because his numbers are insane. But I think they're leaving more out there by not putting him in that true power position in that 4 or 5 hole.
I don't care about he's got the most leadoff home runs for a game. I don't care about that statistics. I get it's beautiful to say. It's one of those stats that are awesome, but is it truly meaningful? It's not. I don't think it's as big of a deal if the dude is banging home runs at the 4 hole, getting you more RBIs than him leading off the game, winning 1-0.
I agree. Agree with you. Um, so yeah, I do believe that an extension for Schwarber is coming. I'm in that area right now of 4 years, maybe $100 million, 4 years, $90 million. I think what Anthony Santander just got is probably what Schwarber is going to be looking at, knowing that I don't care that Santander is a switch guy. He doesn't have the longevity of the production that Schwarber has on that resume. So I really do believe that Schwarber is going to make more there. And look, has he earned it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's earned it. I'm a big Kyle Schwarber fan. I know Jay and I talked about this now for years. Has nothing to do with Schwarber, the player. We just don't think he's being utilized to his abilities
One
with
thing
that
I hate
bat.
on Topper for.
Yeah,
Only thing I hate Topper
that's
for.
the it. That's the only thing that we'll rip Topper for is that. Next thing on the docket, just a couple more things here. Is JT's playing time. I think again, Jay, it's another offseason, another season that goes by where we don't have a backup catcher that can play for a week or two if something was wrong with JT. He's just
Why
again.
not bring up Marchand and just really go 50-50? Like I get, because you
Yeah.
don't really want to overuse Marchand either. Like I get you want him time, but at this point you really need to see if he's the guy. So
I
you
agree.
can really go, let him catch two games a week. If you're playing 5 a week, let him go 2. Some weeks go 3 if you throw JT at DH or whatever. Get him in there consistently, even if it's like 2 1 week, 1 the next. But you got it. I think that's probably the move, because you want to see what he is. And in an off chance that JT gets hurt, which he's getting up there, the knees, you have him there long term, that you don't have to waste calling him up, sending him down. That's, to me, I think the smartest move, at least for this season. Just keeping Marchand up and really seeing what you have with him.
I see. I agree with you. I totally
Stubbs.
agree with you.
I don't hate Stubbs. I'm just tired of him.
Yeah,
he's not the guy.
He gives you nothing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like I don't care for an energy guy at this point.
Yeah, no. These are pros. They'll create their own energy. Thompson said he spoke with JT about monitoring his playing time to keep him healthy. He said the conversation went well. I'm sure when JT hung up the phone, he probably said, that's funny. And Thompson did say, I think JT realizes he needs to have a good year. He needs to stay healthy, and we need to do a better job of managing his games. Now, do I exactly know how many games he's going to play? I don't know. I think you gauge that as the season goes on. I did talk to him about having some DH days, and he was all in on that. I'm totally cool. My goal, and this is what I said before, my goal here is for JT to catch maximum 110 games, maximum. And you can DH as many other ones as you want. These days of 125, 130, 135 games, they should have been done a year or two ago with JT to save that guy's knees and his health. Because look,
they're just paying him too much to do that, though.
That's not his fault. But
no, it's not.
You're right. The dude's a super athlete. He's in incredible shape. He's in just a spectacular athlete back there. But man, Father Time will remain undefeated until the end of time. And you got to take care of this dude. And especially when you don't have a viable backup. I look at what's coming down the pike here in 2026 free agents. William Contreras is going to be a free agent. He's 28. Is that somebody that in the back of your mind, maybe, Jay, you're thinking of having a replacement for 3 or 4 seasons?
I don't know. He's not a guy I've thought much about. It's been tough because I've really thought a lot about JT. Like I haven't really thought anything outside of JT. It right? has been tough. Like it really, you're right. I haven't looked. He's a dude. I think he's a guy. Where's he? He's not with the Cubs. He's not the one with the Cubs, is he?
Brewers.
He's with the Brewers. He's the young. Yeah. Okay. Because he's got a big arm. If I remember correctly, he's like more of a power bat, big arm type of. Yep. So, listen, if you could get somebody that just can control the bases a little bit, I think he's actually been up there pretty well in protecting.
Last year, he hit 281 with 23 and 92.
Dude, man, yeah, that bat is
167 hits.
Okay, yeah, I'm on board. I'm on board. Let's go. The only issue is what's he going to get? Because you feel like if you're paying Schwarber, it's going to be tough to go out and get someone like just because with the way some of those and you got Bohm. What are you doing with Bohm? I think this is where a lot of it comes into play because you really can't get Trey and Bryce are really paid.
Yep.
So he's a guy that's going to probably cost more than JT does
for sure. Yeah,
with that bat, and he's younger if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, William Contreras is he is 26 right now.
That's
27. He just turned 27. So he'll be 28. He'll be turning 28 December 24th, like Christmas Eve next year. So again, he's hitting that free agency at that prime age.
Yeah.
So depending on how this season goes, we'll see. But that's yeah, I mean,
if the Brewers, like you said, if the Cubs are playing well and the Brewers you saw they traded Devin Williams, if they can't keep some dudes, listen, I think this year there's going to be a lot. This might more than any because I felt and I looked at that free agency class. I think there's going to be a lot of trades, so depending with JT, injury wise, if he does, I think there could be some stuff there.
I agree.
I think there's going to be a big trade this season, honestly, in the season.
With the Phillies or just overall in baseball?
The Phillies. I think Phillies are going to add a really big name. And
I actually agree with you. I don't know if it's going to be an arm, but I think it's definitely going to be somebody to help the lineup. And this is going to go into kind of our next topic, kind of my final one here. And that is going to be the importance and how often, like how relied upon are they going to have on the shoulders of Andrew Painter. This is going to be a big deal here. Dombrowski reiterated today, or yesterday, I'm sorry, that Painter could join the major league club by July-ish. That doesn't mean July exactly. It could be June. And I think it really depends on how things are going. We all saw the complete and utter destruction of Ranger Suarez post All-Star break. We don't know what we're going to get out of Taijuan Walker. Or where if he's even going to be on the roster. But following that Tommy John surgery in 2023, the Phillies clearly and very thankfully taking it easy and slow with Painter. He's the number 8 overall prospect in Major League Baseball. He'll throw bullpen sessions early in the spring, then progress to facing hitters. Eventually, he will appear in extended spring training games. Grapefruit League games, however, are most likely going to be unlikely for him. Jay, this whole Painter situation, they're going to have to treat this man with kid gloves because, one, he's going to be on an innings limit. What do? Do you bring him up in mid-late July so you can have that arm for the postseason? Because even when you get to the postseason, you might have to extend those innings a little bit based on what's going on with your rotation, how he's pitching. How do you treat this Andrew Painter situation?
It's really tough because one of the things when you're about the show you're talking, and I was thinking like kind of a storyline is really the pitching staff.
Yeah, man.
I think the pitching staff. It really depends on what they're looking like. How good's Luzardo going to pitch?
I'm looking forward to him big time.
Is he a 3? Is he going to be a 3? Can he be the 2? Because Nola really is a glorified 3. Really.
Yeah. Can Sanchez do the same thing he did last year?
Can he be that guy? What is Ranger? Can Ranger go the distance? So I think there's a lot of big questions. I hate the idea because listen, I never understood the idea of setting a dude down to let him pitch in the minors. I get the pressure and everything's a little different than majors, but he's still pitching in the minors all those innings. Like you're not going to limit if you're going to limit him, just limit it the whole way. Let him play through the season. And just say, hey, you're going maybe every fifth. If you want to have Wheeler go his every 5th day and just bump everybody else and let him maybe just go every 6th day or something like that. Extend him out. Maybe only go 4 or 5 innings because you let Ranger do that for so long. You let Ranger throw 4 or 5 innings. I think that's if you're going to do it. I think calling him up early, doing it that way. And you know what? If you get to the playoffs, I think all gloves are off. You got to let the kid go.
I agree.
It's one of those things. If he's pitching, if he is what they say he's going to be, and they're saying everything I've heard is he looks better now, and of course they're going to say it.
Throws harder.
I get all. So they're throwing out everything you want to hear. If he is that kid, you gotta, if he comes up and pitches, we just watch Paul Skeens. I get it. We've watched Strasburg. We've watched so many pitchers come up their rookie year, and I get the injury.
Yeah,
but it's not 20. or it's not 2000 anymore. Is that Tommy
Yeah.
John's not, these injuries aren't really killing these guys like they used to. So
Yeah.
I think if the kid's going, if he's pitching well, I get you want to protect him, but it's if it's going to go, it's going to go. You got to let him see what it is. So I think let him ride it through the end of the year. If he's good enough to come up, you got to let him go.
I agree. I'm not comparing him with Paul Skeens at all. Skeens is 22.
No.
He's going to be 23 in May. We're about a month and a half away from Andrew Painter turning 22. So, we're getting to that point where it's time, baseball again, 20, 21, 22, 23 years old. If you're a high-end pitching prospect, most of those guys are in rotations by now, if you're that good.
Yeah.
So I do think by July, we're going to see Andrew Painter at Citizens Bank Park or wherever they start him. And I think they're going to have to let him be the judge on what he can and cannot do, because Jason's right. When you get to September and October and he's pitching well and you're playing big time meaningful games in September, what are you going to do when he's in the fourth inning and he's shutting somebody out because he might be at 65, 70 pitches? Now you got to keep him rolling if he says, let's go. I'm not playing this game anymore. I can't do it. If you're going to bring him up, like Jason said, in July, then he's here and he's full load. Like, that's the way it's got to be. You deal with things as they come. You can't do these kid gloves.
I don't want to. My problem is you're trying to say we want to take it easy on him. If you would have gotten the damn surgery 2 years ago instead of saying, "Hey, we're going to do it," the kid he'd be better by now. So, I get now you want to take it easy now, but you should have. There are other things like if he's good, if he's ready to pitch, he's ready to pitch.
Correct.
That's what it is.
I agree. Totally agree.
I hope so, man. I hope we see him. I can't wait.
I
hope his first starts at home. If it is, I'm definitely going. I hope it's a Sunday.
Of course you do, because you already have tickets. But yeah, I agree. I hope it's whenever it is, if it's at home, I'll head down there to check him out for sure, because that's going to be a lot of fun to watch that. That's one of those kind of games where guys are going to be standing up at the dugout at the top of the gate watching this kid pitch. It's going to be a lot of fun. But look, there's a lot of other things. I'm not going to get into it now because we have another month or so of covering spring training. A couple things I want to talk about a little bit, was there bench players? We do know that Edmundo Sosa is taking reps in the outfield, so he's most likely 100% certainty going to be part of this roster moving forward. I think it's a good thing. I think small doses of Edmundo Sosa are great. He's a really good bench player. We found that out when, if you need him to start for a week, he's really good. Anything more than that, not so good. But still, this is where we are. Lots of things to talk about as we move forward into spring training. But yeah, we are back again. It's our fourth season here, our second full season streaming. Just super excited to get things rolling here. If you guys are watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications when we're going to go live. Head over to SeatGeek.com right now. Use our code Ring the Bell for $20 off your very first ticket purchase. Jay, thank you so very much, brother. I really appreciate it as always. We'll be back here next week. And for the rest of the entire baseball season. So for Jason Kent, I'm Christy Francesco, and we'll catch you guys here down the road. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.